1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All are.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We're back with our 63rd episode, and we are going to have a fun one tonight. My name is Aaron Harris. Joining me is my co-host. If we were the Wizard of Oz, he would be I was going to say you'd be the Dorothy to my Scarecrow, but that just didn't come out right. So, David, what's up, my brother?
Caravan, this might be the new record.
Oh, my word.
Oh, my gosh, my face already hurts.
Oh, Lord. I'll just wait till we get to the joke of the week.
No, I know. You've already texted me about this. I'm curious to hear how bad this groaner is. So, but doing pretty good, buddy. Looking forward to recording with you, ready to react. And yeah, well, let's get her going.
Perfect. So not a lot happening news-wise. I think the biggest news was basically from the Hasbro PulseCon that happened this past weekend. They made a lot of announcements as to new merchandise that's being released and pre-ordered. They launched the new HasLab crowdfunding initiative for Star Wars, which is that $350 Rancor. But then they also announced some other things like upcoming figures that they're going to be released, things down the pipeline. And then, of course, they had a series of exclusives that they had on sale during the weekend for their website. Did you get a chance to take a look at any of the announcements or look at any of the exclusives?
Yeah. Plus, you'd sent me a quick little shout out. I didn't watch it on Friday or Saturday, but definitely scrolled through some of the offerings. Coffee with Kenobi. What Dan had mentioned some stuff. Plus, I always listen to his a Facebook Live group on Tuesday morning. I was listening this morning and heard him run through a bunch of different things, and I could visualize them because I'd seen the pictures online. So yeah, they looked pretty cool, man.
Yeah, there's some great things, and I was going to be some of the highlights that came from there was, of course, the Rancor that they ordered, but the one piece that I knew was coming, and I absolutely loved it when they debuted it, was, of course, it was a Hasbro PulseCon exclusive 6-inch Black Series of Trapper Wolf. And of course, for those of you who don't recognize that name, that of course was Dave Filoni's X-Wing pilot character in The Mandalorian.
Right.
Very cool figure. Looks awesome. I will admit, I gave in to my weakness and I did manage to snag a pre-order on one.
Well, that'll go nice with a lot of the other merch that you got.
Yeah, I had to. It's Dave Filoni in a Star Wars costume, so it'll go right along with the 6-inch Black Series Lucasfilm 50th anniversary George Lucas as a stormtrooper I pre-ordered as well.
I was just going to ask you, yeah, and the big creators in figures now. That's pretty cool.
Yes, then I can have them just standing on my desk and literally look at them and say, "Thank the makers."
They're right there in front of you.
Exactly. We're not worthy. So, but that was cool. I enjoyed it. It was a good weekend on that. It was fun. Also, this weekend was the virtual gala for Rancho Obi-Wan. Did you tune into that?
You and I talked about it. I didn't between 1 and 4. I was just finishing up I did hard work Saturday from about 9:30 to 4. And then by Saturday night, I'm like, wait a minute, I think I missed it. I do think you can jump on and watch it. I heard Dan mentioning that. Maybe, I don't know if you just pay some money and you can watch the 3 hours or something like that. Is that?
I believe that's the case. You have to at least pay for the virtual tour membership to do that, which I think was like $10. But I missed out on it too. Our landlord put the house we're renting up for sale, and they did an open house Saturday, and we all got kicked out. So I wasn't able to log in and watch it. But I need to go back and do that before they pull it down. So
Yeah.
but it's all good. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet on the Star Wars front, honestly. At least nothing has crossed my desk. Oh, wait, there was one piece of big news that was pretty much confirmed. Was of course, the return of Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Of course, we know he's going to be in the Kenobi show. That was announced. But apparently, Hayden Christensen will also be in the Ahsoka show. Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
That is about as confirmed as it can be. The Luke, without Lucasfilm coming right out and saying yes, it's happening. The Rosario Dawson even pretty much confirmed it with a tweet because apparently her and him starred in a movie together, and she showed a picture of them together laughing and hugging, and her tweet actually said, "Hey Sky Guy, it's out. They know. Can't wait to see you again. Snips."
Oh man! Wow.
So it is about as confirmed as it can be without Kathleen Kennedy going, yes, it's happening.
Well, she had to have gotten permission to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would assume so, but
yeah.
So it looks like not only will he be in Kenobi, but he'll be in Ahsoka. It'll be interesting to see in what form he's in Ahsoka, whether it's as a Force ghost or what. But then you got the questions of, if he appears to Ahsoka as a Force ghost, why hasn't he appeared to his son?
Yeah.
Or has he, and we just don't know.
Right. You can elaborate. Yes, true.
So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff happening. I don't have any other news written down. Did I miss any that you heard about?
No. Just they're kind of a fun little thing is for the Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. They're just putting out little posters every couple of weeks. We just posted one based on Lost Boys. They're pretty fun. I'm sure a lot of the listeners have gone to StarWars.com and seen them. They have one based on The Thing, one based on The Shining, and one based on Alien. So this was the fourth one I've seen.
Very cool.
Based on Lost Boys.
Yeah. So, yeah, I saw that was released, today, or was it yesterday? Or was it a couple of days ago? I think I saw it yesterday for the first time. But it may have come out a few days before then. But I like how they're doing these posters, because they did this with Visions as well. Every so often they would release a new poster about an episode. And now they're doing it with Terrifying Tales as they build up to, of course, we're recording this October 26th on a Tuesday. We're just days away from Halloween. So
yeah,
I'm getting that promo build up going.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool. I mean, it came out October 1st, the actual show, so they've been promoting it pretty well through the month, and I thought that was pretty cool. So that's the only other bit of news I thought about. That's kind of fun.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, with that, we will close out our news segment, and we will take a look at our topic for this week. Well, I enjoy these episodes, David, because we are doing our second episode of our vintage reaction series. We did our first one last month, looking at Ewoks, the first episode of Ewoks. This week, we're doing the second episode of Ewoks called The Haunted Village. This, of course, was originally released September 14th of 1985. I was 5 at the time when that was out, well on my way to my 6th birthday. This was written by Paul Dini and directed by Raymond Jaffalais.
Yeah, never seen a last name like that. Yeah.
Hafalais.
Yeah. Paul, I do know this. I do know, and I mentioned him because I talked about it last month when we covered season 1, episode 1. It's Paul Dini, and Paul Dini. Really, people probably most likely know his name from writing on the Batman the Animated Series, famous series in the early '90s. So he did this work in the mid '80s before he did that work on that. So just a little refresh for our listeners.
And I loved Batman's the Animated Series. That was I'd get home from school in the afternoon, middle school. I remember plain as day, I'd get home from middle school, run in, grab my snack, sit down, watch Batman the Animated Series, followed by Star Trek The Next Generation. Then I was doing homework.
Oh, Adam, that's nice. That was
my weekdays after school. So yes, awesome. So very talented writer. Paul Dini is I should say. I assume he's still alive. I haven't looked.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm like, yikes, Carabas. Yeah. So basically what happens in this episode, the Ewoks hatch a plan to hide their sunberry trees with a magic soap that makes things invisible. But the Dulux accidentally steal and use it for their own evil purposes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wah, 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 wah. more as how it should sound.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and kick this off with our initial reactions to watching this. I'll go first since I'm already talking here. I love one of the things I love about doing this series of shows, these vintage reaction shows, is I automatically get transported back to being a kid watching cartoons on a Saturday morning. And literally what I do is I love waiting and watching these on a Saturday morning. I will get up and watch these new episodes because I've never watched this series before. So each episode is brand new to me. And so I get up and I watch it on a Saturday morning, just like I would if I was a kid. I grab a bowl of Cheerios, pull up the floor, turn it on, and I'm 6 again. I'm 5 again, watching Saturday morning cartoons. And it's great. I love it because this literally is what TV was in the 80s. The fun story, with an obvious moral to the story. You have Wicket saving the day, even though he has been looked down upon and during the episode as being too young to really help, too little. He ends up saving the day in the final batch of bushes, not butches, but bushes. It was just great, and I love the fact that ironically we are recording this 5 days away from Halloween. And this is probably the most perfect Halloween episode you could have gotten, because you got the Dulac stealing the soap, making themselves invisible, and haunting the village per se. It just kind of fits. But it's great. It's great. I had a lot of fun. It was fun. It was great. David, what were your initial thoughts after watching The Haunted Village?
Yeah, I just want to mimic a lot of what you said, that it does take me back to 80s. I grew up during that time. Unfortunately, I'm, about 10 years older than Aaron. So I was, what was I in 85? I would have been 15 right then. Yeah, then 16. Yep, I was 15. And so in a sophomore in high school. And so, but again, I think I mentioned it last month when we covered season 1, episode 1. It's busy every Saturday morning with basketball, even in the fall. That was just a big thing up north, inside playing ball. Even though a lot of people were doing football, my buddies and I, we played basketball nonstop. But just like Aaron said, I did not see this or the hour that they had, Ewoks Droid Hour. So just like Aaron said, I really love going back through these and watching them to ultimately see them, but ultimately be able to say I've seen them, and then it's fun. It's new Star Wars content for me because again, I didn't watch them either back at that time. It's like Aaron mentioned, it's just fun. It conveyed a good moral. This one, I think one of the quotes is, "Thievery doesn't pay off." And I was trying to remember, I was trying to write down a lot of stuff. That might have been Logray who said that. I don't think it was Chief Chirpa, but I think it was Logray. But anyways, good little moral, a fun little show. And then Aaron, said what I was going to say. It's just the Haunted Village is the perfect one to cover this week. The Haunted Village. However, this isn't quite Michael Myers Halloween status. This is much more lighter fare, but a lot of fun and enjoyable to watch.
Yes, it definitely is. It's an 80s kids Halloween special is essentially what it feels like. Because you have the haunting of the village by the Dulacs, who make themselves invisible with the magic soap. And you have, of course, Morag, who is sending the Mantagru to destroy all the sunberry bushes, which is why the Ewoks need the soap to begin with. So it just we got the two evils coming, the pterodactyl-like creature emerging from the volcano to come destroy the bushes, while you have invisible creatures causing chaos in the Ewok village. It's just, it's a good, fun Halloween tale,
right,
without being a Halloween tale.
Right.
So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into some of our talking points here. We get to see, of course, like I mentioned, the antagonist in the story. We get to see right off the bat. We get to see Morag in the Montague. I mispronounce it, but it's the pterodactyl-looking creature flying around. It flies in and steals the bushes while Wicket's right there, and starts the whole process and gets the ball rolling for the plot immediately. And Morag, and of course this Montague, is very, and I said it differently this time too.
Well, I think you're right. It might be Montague. You may be spelled it correctly. I was looking up above on our show notes. Montague. I think maybe that was spell check. The Montague, right? Is it Montague? The Montague?
We'll just call it the pterodactyl.
Yeah, I was going to say pterodactyl. I love how they animated it.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic animation, and they seem to be the more competent of the antagonists in this episode, to put it bluntly. Morag is the brains, while the Dulaks are the goofs. Because both of them are the antagonists to the Ewoks in this episode, and they each have their own agenda, but they go about it completely different ways. Morag has a plan and is very organized with her mission for the Montague, the pterodactyl, whereas the Dulux are pretty much, and I like how you put it in the show notes. They're comic relief.
Right.
Which is essentially what they are. They're screwing up. They're being the comic relief for this episode. And they're especially, and I love it when they were haunting the village, and they're just like chasing somebody down with a pie. They were drawing on a wall. You see this wooden stick walk up behind Chirpa and slap him on the rear, spank him. It's little things like that, which is just classic 80s slapstick. Essentially, is what it is.
That's right.
What are your thoughts when it comes to the antagonist for the Ewoks in this episode?
Yeah, well, what I was, thinking about was how, again, we can just say, hey, it's just, we can cover it from a very superficial level, 80s cartoon. It's fun. Kids enjoy it. And I enjoyed it on a very, very superficial level. Like I said, not serious. And like you said, there's, pies being thrown in people's faces. They're writing on the wall and the Dulux are running around. But I thought it might be fun to look a little bit at the mythology, particularly when I was watching. I was noticing a number of things that I think all good writers put in there. And one of them is you've got, and some of the stuff I've just been listening to and reading, when it comes to antagonists, you have to have ones that are equal to or more powerful than our heroes. And I thought about it as I was watching this. And just like you mentioned, Morag is definitely there. The Dulux are not the formidable foes. Morag is, and Paul Dini writes it that way, but in a very understandable way for kids, right? They know that Morag's the more serious one and where they show her. And when that pterodactyl does fly up, I had visions of Fantasia, kind of a little bit of reference to Fantasia thinking about that. But Morag is equal in power or more powerful than Logray, right? The shaman. And so I thought about that. And then, like I said, the Dulux are there. They're not equal to the Ewoks or more formidable. They're, like I said, for comic relief. So I thought it was neat kind of looking at the episode going, now wait, no, Paul Dini is doing it's two levels. One is a moral and understanding that stealing is wrong, but he also has some of the core mythological elements in there. And in this case, he has formidable foes. Like I think of Vader and the Emperor against Luke and the rebels. I mean, they're equal or more powerful. I mean, I started thinking about this, Aaron. Whenever they asked Yoda, in episode 2, it's like the shadow of the dark side has fallen, or they always struggle to see things when the dark side is present and growing, and versus saying, no, there's strange things are afoot, or there's a Sith Lord out there, and it doesn't really flummox Mace Windu or Anakin or Yoda or the Jedi Council. No, I mean, they're sitting in Palpatine's office and they can't pick up that it's him. So again, there's a mythological example right there in episodes, 1, 2, and 3. And here it is in this episode of the Ewoks, a formidable foe. So a formidable antagonist.
Very good. Very good. Very cool. Yeah. And what's cool about the mythological aspects of it is it fits right in with Star Wars as it is. George Lucas was always big into the mythology behind Star Wars. And this series is kind of building its own mythology with the Ewoks at that point. And I like that. It's fun. We're getting to see some of their beliefs and some of their structure. Their magic per se, which makes me wonder why they didn't use the magic soap when the during the Battle of Endor. But hey, I could see Han now. This soap supposed to make me disappear. puts it on. I'm just going to walk right in. Why? Where did those explosives come from?
Right. Exactly.
The explosives just start appearing on the roof above your heads. Wait a second.
Him and Leia walk right into the bunker,
Yep.
shield bunker, and lay the blast.
Oh, absolutely. That would just be interesting. And they're like, hey, let's use it. They climb on board a shuttle, fly up to the Death Star, just drop a few bombs underneath Palpatine's chair. Hey, guess what? You just won the war without blowing up a Death Star.
That's right.
Again. So, yeah, I love the fact that they're involving mythology in it, and it's great. And I love the fact too that in typical 80s fashion, and this is all, if you look at all the movies of the time, movies and shows, there's, in situations like this, there's always going to be your character, in this case, your star in this case, which is Wicket, who's little, young, has a lot to learn. He wants to help out, pitch in and help everybody out, and they tell him he's too small and he's too young. But then he ends up saving the day at the end by taking what's left of the magic soap water and punching holes in his water bag and soaring through the air like Tarzan, spraying it everywhere.
That's right.
And to me, that was just another awesome thing that one, just to me, represented, of course, the time, that time, the 80s, because a lot of their shows and a lot of their movies, that was how it played out. The underdog saving the day. But also, I like the fact that, I mean, we're establishing Wicket's reputation too amongst the Ewok family and Ewok tribe. So when Return of the Jedi comes around, we understand why they didn't roast Leia immediately. Because they trust him.
Right.
They trust him. He's got their trust. So anything else about the Haunted Village you would like to cover tonight, David?
Well, just another aspect, that there's a mythological aspect is like the soap, it's from the rare shadow root plant. You hear Logray talk about it. And we see this in a lot of different stories, the magical talisman that the hero gets from the shaman or the mentor. Episode 4, when Obi-Wan, the mentor, hands over his father's lightsaber to him, there's the magical talisman that helps Luke on his way. And in this case, it was the soap. When Logray passes it out to the Ewoks, it's the magical talisman to help them deal with evil, right? And so, again, just another little spot. Now, I would also say this: even the Dulocs have a shaman, and he's making a magic potion on his end. So they even have the Dulocs, even though they're comic relief. There's still some mythological aspects to those guys as well. But that's all I have. Just kind of want to cover it on two levels: the fun level and a little bit of the mythological level.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, of course, with that, we'll just kind of go ahead and close out our reactions to the episode there. David, what are your final thoughts on the Haunted Village?
Yeah, I wanted to just mention Paul Dini again, that even though he's writing for a children's Saturday morning cartoon, he still uses those core mythological themes. And I thought, that would be kind of fun to talk about. And I just want to give him credit for that. This episode, continued the fun of the series premiere that Aaron and I covered in our first Vintage Reactions episode. I am finding these episodes are fun to watch, and, I can enjoy them for the fun and for the deeper mythological messages. And I think I'm going to continue to do that as we go through and watch these, because it'll be fun to watch them. It'll be fun to talk about them with you. And as we get through the 2 seasons, then we can say, hey, we've watched it. We've watched that series. And then, we can obviously move on to Droids as well. But so far, so good. A lot of fun.
Yes, very much fun so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's one thing I've and we discussed this earlier. One thing I've missed about old '80s shows, whether it was in this case Ewoks, but GI Joe or Super Friends or whatever it was, were those simple morals that were being taught in each episode. And Ewoks doesn't miss a beat at all in teaching those, and we see that in this episode with liars, thievery doesn't pay, and those type of morals, and we see that in there. And I miss that. A lot of our shows today don't. Some of them have some kind of moral tale to tell. Some of them don't. Some of them are just tackling major issues of the day without spinning a moral compass to it. And I think that's where 80s cartoons had that advantage, where they purposely were trying to drive home good moral character to help teach these kids as well, the kids watching it. This was just a fun episode altogether. One thing I have noticed, I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, but one thing I have noticed is there hasn't been a lot of character building for this show. We've been introduced to the characters, but we are not seeing a lot of building of the character, background, character growth, anything like that, like we have with Star Wars. I mean, in the episode in the movie where we're introduced to Ahsoka, we get introduced to her, but then all of a sudden we're also seeing her character and her growth as a character and Anakin's growth towards her through the whole thing. And we get a lot of character development growth, and we just don't see that in this series. And honestly, I don't think we ever really saw a lot of that in 80s kids cartoons. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't remember that. But what's great about this, though, is that lack of growth, that lack of development of the characters doesn't take away from the quality of the show, the fun of the show, or the enjoyment of the show. It just makes it, honestly, in my opinion, it makes it easier to watch and makes it more enjoyable because you can literally turn off your brain and just have a good time.
Well said.
Essentially. And I like a show I can do that with, and I can do that with Ewoks. And they're characters that I like, I enjoy, but I don't have that character growth that immediately causes me to latch onto a character and be emotionally invested in it, so
yeah.
But I have enjoyed this, and I got a kick out of Ewoks, out of the Dulux in this episode. I mean, those guys, they're so dumb. It's funny.
How do you like the one you have one with X and then one with O on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you tell them apart? X's and O's.
Yeah, I love.
Circle gets a square.
Yeah. They've got their shaman, and then they've got their kind of head guy, the head one, King. I got to read it. I got to try to remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's fun. I'm glad we're doing these, and I'm glad I'm getting to experience these each episode for the first time with all of y'all. So yeah, so that about does it. So let us know what you think of Vintage Reactions of Ewoks, and particularly the Haunted Village. You can, of course, hit us up on any of our social media, on Instagram and Facebook. It's at SW Reactions, Twitter at SW Reactions Pod, or of course you can always email us, show@StarWarsReactions.com.
Nice.
Very good. David, I believe you have a psychology corner for us this week.
I do, but really quickly, before I jump into that, I'm looking at my Star Wars Insider magazine. I had said last week that I couldn't remember the issue where part of the High Republic fiction that they have in Star Wars Insider connects to something in Tempest Runner. And I went back and looked, and it is issue number 205, September/October 2021. I just got issue 206 in the mail yesterday.
Okay.
November/December 2021. But it's in the issue 205 where there is part of the story that connects with a little part of Tempest Runner. And I'd be curious if any of our listeners can tell you and I what that little connection is. So I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to clarify something I said last week and then move into the psychology corner. So what I've been doing is going through Freudian defense mechanisms. And so this week I'm continuing the theme. It's just been a nice little run of defense mechanisms. Tonight I'll cover sublimation. And what this is simply the redirection of various impulses, emotions, and wishes into more socially acceptable outlets. And here's an example. When persons are feeling aggression, they could channel that emotion into physical exercise. For example, being in the gym, hitting a punching bag, much more socially acceptable than physically hurting somebody else. And like I put in my notes here, this is not all bad because I very much would like people to redirect or channel anger and aggression into socially acceptable outlets. For the longest time growing up, I always thought about boxing and football as socially acceptable places that our culture has said, yes, you can be aggressive here. The biggest one now, and it's past boxing, it's left boxing in the dust, is MMA, mixed martial arts. Those UFC, isn't it, right? Ultimate Fighting Championship. Those events, they've done incredible. The viewership and the pay-per-views, it's been incredible. But, talk about taking off the gloves. That is socially sanctioned violence. I would even say not aggression, but violence. And but again, people know the rules. If you don't want to step in the ring, the octagon, you don't have to. But there's sublimation, taking certain impulses, emotions, wishes, certain ones that are not necessarily easy to get out all the time in a socially acceptable manner, but when people do it, it is called sublimation.
Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. And if somebody has any questions for you, David, about the Psychology Corner or about the Haunted Village or Star Wars in general, how would they go about asking you those?
Absolutely. Twitter at David_Modders. Last name is Modders. There's an S there. Instagram, just look up David Modders, and the email is david@StarWarsReactions.com.
Excellent. Very well. And of course, if you do want to talk Star Wars with me, the best way to do that is Twitter at TAHarris121079. Or, of course, you can email me, Aaron, at StarWarsReactions.com as well. So, yeah, let us know what you think. Hit us up, talk to us. And those also the way you will let me know what you think of this week's Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week. Are you ready for this, David?
I think so. I'm usually never ready. I think I'm ready, but I'm not.
All right. Well, this one I actually put normally I just have a list I pull a joke out of and throw it into the show notes. And this time I actually tried to dig in a little bit and find something that would go along with today's show. And since we did a vintage reactions on Ewoks, I figured it would be appropriate to have an Ewok themed dad joke for you.
All right.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Again, I hope so.
All right. Well, David, why don't the Ewoks yell inside?
I don't know. Why don't the Ewoks yell inside?
Because they use their indoor voices.
Oh, that is so bad.
Endor voices. The forest moon of Endor. Wah, 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 wah. Waka, waka, waka.
So bad it's good.
I love it. This is my way of being Fozzie the Bear without having tomatoes thrown at me.
Exactly. On the show, The Muppets.
Yep, you got it. So, all right. Well, with that, that's everything, my friend. David, this has been a blast as always, my friend.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed it, buddy.
Same here. Same here. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. We wish you all the best in life and in health and in everything. We're praying for you. We love y'all. Y'all are the best listeners ever. So thank you again. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.